Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at Bruce Chatwin's really iconic 1987 book, The Songlines. Based on your sources, this isn't, just a travelogue. It feels like a mix, part novel, part memoir, and definitely a quest. A quest to understand this incredibly deep connection to land. Our mission today is to unpack its core ideas and figure out why it still resonates.
Absolutely. What's so striking is how Chatwin takes us right into the heart of Australia. He explores this ancient Aboriginal concept of songlines. It's like the land itself is sung into existence. These songs are maps, they're spiritual guides, they hold knowledge. It's a system that really challenges Western ways of thinking.
Okay, let's get into that journey then. Chatwin's narrator, called Bruce, he goes to Alice Springs. And there he connects with a character named Arcady. Arcadi's involved in mapping a proposed railway line, a big one, like 1,500 kilometers.
That's right. And Arkadi's job is key. He has to talk with the local Aboriginal people to identify sacred sites, places the railway absolutely must avoid.
So it connects immediately to real-world issues.
Exactly. That detail grounds it in, actual history.
Yeah.
That rail line project was debated for years, planned in 81, I think, then canceled mid-83, but eventually built much later in 2004. It really throws light on that difficult and often contradictory relationship between Indigenous Australians and white Australians that Chatwin gets into.
And Chatwin himself, his own experiences fed into this.
Oh, definitely. His own journey mirrored the narrator's quest in many ways. He spent about 9 weeks in Central Australia, even got a permit, apparently, to stay in an Aboriginal village, Kintor. Though he faced challenges, of course, language barriers being a big one. He even traveled with Salman Rushdie for part of it.
Right. So out of this immersion comes his really, daring thesis. Let's talk about that core idea.
Yes, this is where it gets fascinating. Chatwin puts forward this idea that language itself might have started as song. And in the Aboriginal Dreamtime, this sort of foundational creative era, singing the land, didn't just describe it. It actually brought it into conscious existence, into memory. Singing a rock, a tree, a path, It makes them real and connects the singer deeply to them.
Wow. So language, song, creation, memory, all tied together.
Precisely. And he takes it even further. Chatwin links this Aboriginal understanding with broader ideas about human evolution. He argues that early humans migrating across Africa spread these kinds of songlines globally, moving generally southwest to northeast, he suggests, and that maybe they're just best preserved now in Australia's ancient culture.
That's a huge claim. Now, the book itself,
Okay.
it's often called a roman à clef, right? Blurring fiction and nonfiction. And Chatwin himself later said, maybe just think of it as fiction. Why do that? Especially with such sensitive cultural material.
That's a really important question. Sources suggest labeling it fiction was, partly a way to sidestep tricky questions. Questions about the literal accuracy of quotes or his interpretations of Aboriginal mythology. It's delicate territory.
Which raises the bigger issue. Can an outsider, using written words, really capture an oral ancient culture like this without, inevitably simplifying or even falsifying it somehow?
That's the tension, absolutely. And reviewers picked up on this. Many praised him. New York Times, London Review of Books. They loved his concision, his erudition, called it a masterpiece, said it transformed English travel writing. High praise.
But not universal praise.
No. Others pointed out that struggle, that inevitable distance, as one put it, between a modern viewpoint and an ancient one, or how hard it is to make the songs themselves truly feel accessible through text alone.
Yet there's that quote. Julie Parsons in the Irish Times said something like, "We read it to learn how little we know," which suggests value even in that distance.
Exactly. And Rory Stewart made a really interesting observation, too. He noted that despite showing hardships, sickness, unemployment, all that Chatwin's Aboriginal characters aren't just victims. They emerge as figures of scope and challenging autonomy. It's not a simplistic picture.
So wrapping this up for you, the listener, what's the takeaway? The Songlines, it seems, remains this compulsively memorable book, as sources call it. It pushes you to think differently about history, culture, and maybe our own connection to the world around us. It really makes you question what a map even is.
And looking at the bigger picture, it really encourages us all to consider the diverse ways cultures understand reality, not just through science, but through these incredibly rich systems of song, story, and lived experience. Knowledge isn't just one thing.
So maybe a final thought for you to ponder. Think about your own life. What are the stories, the songs, maybe even just the familiar routes you take every day that shape your sense of place? What invisible song lines might you be tracing without even realizing it?